You know, you shared the story of failing the cadets exam and coming home and your father saying, I didn't expect you, or I expected you to fail. What was your relationship with your dad as an adult? And did you ever, I mean, he must be immensely proud of his son became a sheriff. I'm sure everywhere he went, he was treated like a king because his son's the sheriff. Did you ever discuss that memory and experience with your dad?
You know, you can either withdraw from your parents, or you can, you know, move closer to them in a way that helps them. You know, I'm a helpful soul. You know, I helped my grandmother shave my uncle and feed him and all those things and even bathe him. And so I'm not the kind of guy that says I'm offended to the point where I can't be in dealing with you. You know, I don't believe in that sort of thing. So as I got more down the road, now what my dad would do is when I got the little AA degree from East LA College, he bought me a ring, right? Then I got the degree from Cal State LA, he bought me a ring. Then I got the master's degree, he bought me a ring for USC. Then when I got my doctorate degree, he had to buy me another ring. It was kind of funny the way that worked, okay? It was important to him that he saw all this happen. So when your parents, I used to take him to all the football games I could get into, right? The Trojan games and stuff, and I'd go take him all over the place. He's seen a lot of stuff with me. I'd pick him up on Saturdays, and he'd listen to me talking, and I'd do paperwork and all this other stuff. And it was just him kind of hanging out with me. And then my dad was one of these, you know, ladies' man when he was young, and he wore beautiful suits, and he looked like a dream and all that. But so whenever I wanted to buy a suit, I'd haul him with me, and he says, "No, that doesn't fit you right. You got to do this, you got to do that." You know, yeah. And so before you know it, I got all this stuff going on with him, and we're not talking about anything serious, you know, because I already had one serious talk with him, and I wanted more serious talk. And so one day we're driving around, and he says, "You know, son, I really didn't do much with my life. That's the truth of it. But you have so much energy, and you got all this stuff." And he says, where do you get your drive? And I says, "Well, Dad, you really don't want to know, but I'll share this with you. One day I took a cadet exam. I got on the bus to go down there, got there on time, did what I thought was my best. I didn't pass it, got back on the bus, came home, saw somebody that meant something to me, told that person that my life is just slipping away. That's how you think when you're 18 years old, you don't pass something. And I just feel horrible." He said, you didn't pass the exam, huh?" I said, "No, I didn't pass the exam." He says, "So what'd that person say?" I said, "Well, that person said, I didn't think you'd pass it anyway." My dad said, he used a different kind of word, I won't use it here. He said, "What kind of so-and-so would ever say something like that to you?" I said, "It doesn't matter, Dad. It helped me get on my feet." I wouldn't tell him that because, you see, it does no good, because I know if I did, he would not be able to take it. He could not take knowing that he was the one. And I believe in this idea of grace, that sometimes things happen uncaringly about people that are close to you, and you should never hold on to it and make it some kind of reason for not circling back and helping the person be a better person. He was a wonderful dad. You know, you know, when I bought my first house, he never owned a house. The best thing he owned was a car. And when I bought my first house, he helped me paint it, you know, and when we did all kinds of stuff. You know, but he said, "How the hell are you going to pay for this house?" I said, "Dad, I got a job, man. You know, I'm working as a deputy sheriff. What else do I need?" And so there's all these things about life that people challenge you with, and at the end point, he was really caught up with the reality that he was my father. And he would go into these $1.99 restaurants for the eggs and bacon and coffee, right? These burger joints. And someone would say to him, "You know who that guy is? That's Tom Baca. That's the sheriff's dad." The owner would say, "Oh my God, you know, the sheriff's dad." So they'd come over and give him a free meal. And you know what my dad would say? He said to me, he said, "Son, I'm nobody, But when I mentioned that I'm your father, I'm somebody. And I said, well, you know what, Dad? You're somebody because I wouldn't live if it wasn't for you. Don't ever forget that. I said, my gratitude is you and Mom were having fun in the back seat of a car when you conceived me. and you know what? I'm happy to be alive. And all the things that you may or may not have done doesn't matter to me, Dad. What matters to me is I live. And that's how I look at life. I mean, I'm so happy to be alive. And I'm so happy that we would share this time together. And I don't talk to anybody about what I talked about to you. I'm always talking about problems and solving them and all that stuff. But I'm talking about how life has been so good to me. But my desire is to be good to it. And I serve people, and that's what I'm meant to do. I'm a servant.